Hello YouTube, this is Lisa with Lisa Haas Custom Sewing here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've got another one of the French fashions that we're going to do now. This one was from page 6 if you did manage to get one of these ebooks that I've got, so you can follow along. This is from the 1920s and it has an arc going up in the front right around. Let me just show you my hip lines. First we're going to do the hip lines and waist and bust and all that. Here's your waistline, your bust line, and your hip line. We've got this arc right here that goes up to about the lower abdomen or the high hip line. Trying to find my notation here. And it also goes down to, drops below the hip, and that's a personal preference as to how far you want that to drop. Now it has V sides. The side treatments is a V. It is a sleeveless with a scoop neck back and front. This was from the 20s, and you can tell because it's still a boyish style. It's not nipped in too much at the waist, which I am going to do. Now it looks almost like this right here, in the front at least, has some gathering, but when you look at the back it doesn't show that it has any, so I'm not going to put any in. Now another thing that this has is this pleated panel looks like it goes right into the front as well, and the back almost looks like it overlaps, but I think that's just the illustration lines. If you look at it right here, this might be a separate panel right here with it sewn over the seam, and it just kind of flows in. At least that's how I'm going to do it. So now that we've got this all notated, let's go ahead and get our basic pattern made in Pattern Master Boutique. Okay, in Pattern Master Boutique, where we're going to do the basic pattern, I've got a tank selected, and I'm going to do it as a knee length. And what I'm going to do on the details is V sides. And I want these to drop down maybe about 12 inches. Now I am doing it fitted, which means I'm going to need a side zipper on it. And of course I've already got my seam allowances taken out. If you look at the sloper, it's going to hit from right around the knee, a little bit below, and then it's going to go on down. As far as the settings go, this is a real simple one. Oh, I need to go scoop neck, sorry. Scoop neck, scoop neck. Now we're going to do side zipper like I said, because I am doing it fitted instead of unfitted. Unfitted it would just be way too straight. So I'm going to nip it in a little bit at the waist. And let's see, details, settings. I'm going to drop this front neckline down to 6. This is a personal preference for me. And I'm going to drop this down to about 7 to get me a lower scoop in the back. Once we've got all that, let's go ahead and save it and adjust your ease like you want. I want mine a little bit loose. Actually, I think I'll go back and adjust that ease a little bit lower. Let's go with a 1.5. Because I'm slender, I need it a little bit smaller in the ease. Now let's save it. Okay, this is French Fashion, page 6. I'm calling it YouTube, so I know which one I'm talking about. Now let's open it up in Pattern Editor. Okay, the first thing we want to do here is to go ahead and get our image up with our notations on it. I'm going to pull him over here. We don't need this bias binding anymore. You never really need to cut out a pattern for a bias binding. All you need to do is to cut equal width down the length of it. You can always come in here, zoom selected. We'll ungroup it right fast. We'll ungroup this one. To figure out your bias binding, which is around the armholes, all those together is 19.23, so 19 1/4. Add your 1/2 inch or 5/8 inch seam lines, whatever you prefer, and that's how long of a strip for one. You'll need 2 of those strips. So for one side, you'd need about a 20 inch and 20 1/4, maybe 20 1/2 inch. And then you would do the same for your neckline, because this is all bias bound. What I think I'm going to do is make facings, but if you did it bias binding, this is 19 1/4 inches here, and you would only need to double that to make it 38 1/2 plus your seam allowances. Okay, I am going to regroup these. Now let's get over here. And I'm going to come in tight right here. Let's get a little bit tighter in here. Don't forget, if you want to move it straight down, just hold your control key. A little bit tighter. Yeah, it's a little bit off. There we go. ZS for zoom selected. Now let's just ungroup this one. And what I'm going to do is create my waistline. Then I'm going to intersect IN this waistline here. I'm going to break this one right here so we can find our hip drop. Right click right on that point and it'll break it right there. Now we need to locate points. Locate a point. My high hip line for me is 3 3/4. Do it again for the hip line, and that's 7 1/2. And then I'm going to do another 3 3/4 after the 7 1/2, so that's 10 11 1/4. Alright, so I've got my 3 points here. Let's do some lines. Right click on that point, hold your control key, go all the way across. Hit your space bar to repeat. Right click on that, go all the way across. Space bar, right click, go all the way across. Now here's what I'm going to do. Did I ungroup all of those? I guess I did. Okay. One of these has to go back here. Let's zoom in. I think I've got that off a little bit. Don't forget, hold down your control key to get it right on that point. There we go. Now I've got a scroll button on my mouse, which makes this a heck of a lot easier. So we are going to do another waistline right here, all the way over to here. Now let's do some intersecting. Here to here, here to here, here to here. We're going to break these in the middle. And then we're going to do some more intersecting over here. Okay, now here's what we want to do. We want to find locate the midpoint on the hip lines. All right, arcs. I think what I want to do first is to go ahead and draw a line, because these are going to be separated. I'm going to draw a line here and another one from here to here. Okay, now we know that the center front's on the fold, center back's on the fold, so that's fine. I want to look at this right quick. This is straight across, and then it starts dropping down. So if I went straight across to here, I will do this a little bit differently than this. It's not going to be an exact replica, I don't think. This actually drapes down like that. Well, I don't know if I want to fudge with it that much. Let's see what happens. I could go all the way across here, break it here, and do an intersection from here to here. And then what I could do is a line from here of fiddlesticks. A line from here to here, and get rid of that one. Intersect this to this. Let's intersect this to this, and then we're going to do a line from here to here and get rid of this one. And we could probably pull this up a little bit more, but it does look like it's down quite a ways. These two pieces are going to actually be put together at the side seam. We're not going to have a seam in it, so let's see what happens with that. Arcs. We're going to go from the high hip line, AR, right click on that point, right click on this point. Now you want to get a nice arc to kind of blend in there. Let's do another one from here down to here. This is about 3 3/4 inches below my hip. That looks pretty good. So let's select those two and group them. Now let's copy those and lay them right on top of each other, and then I'm going to select one of those and flip it. This that we flipped, hold your control key, go all the way over here. Let's zoom in right here and make sure we got it. That's good. All right. We are going to need to copy one of those again. Put it right down where it was. Same with this one. Now we need to separate out the bodice pieces and get them out of the way. this line is going to need to be broken right here and then selected. So we've got, select all that. Let's make sure we have all of our bodice pieces. This line needs to be broken here and select that. We need to break this line right here and select that. I think that's it. Let's move this up. Yes, that's the front, or no, that's the back bodice piece. Now we're going to do the same thing with all of this. Let's go ahead and just do our breaks right now. Okay, that and that. This to right here. Break this one right here. So let's get this, all of this. Hold your shift key to select multiple items. This whole high hip line, we need this, and this, and then all of this right here. And there's our front bodice. This didn't get. There we go. Let's just make sure that that is to the point that it needs to be. Okay. So if this is straight across, this will actually need to be straightened out a little bit. So here's what we're doing here. This break needs to be right here. Same with this guy. And I'm not right clicking because it's an intersection that continues on, so there's no point for it to grab at. And we're going to ungroup that and this, because what we're going to do here is to take this, we need to make a copy of this, lay it where it was, grab that, that. Actually, I'll go the other way. I'm going to grab this one, this one, this one of those, this one, and this one, and pull it off to the side. That's fine. We can go ahead and do an intersection here to here. Do I want to do it like that? No, let's go back. It won't let me go back. So let's move the point. What I want is this to still be there. And then let's intersect it, because we know where the knee line is. And let's go ahead and break this one so we don't have that issue later. And let's move this out of the way. This one needs to be copied. Lay it right where it was. Grab all these. Move him out of the way. Now, this is the hard part. Get it slightly together, because these are going to be joined. I don't know why it's doing that. I think we can still work with it. These points can go away. This section right here is going to have to be pleated. So let's draw a line Wrong way, Lisa. Let's draw a line to blunt this edge. Hold your control key to go all the way over. Now let's do some intersecting from here to here, and from here to here, and this guy too. That's a random rogue one. Okay. I'm going to group that guy and bring him up here. I'm going to group this guy and bring him up here too. Those two go with that. We can go ahead. This is pretty much ready for seam allowances. Let's group it, and we'll group this one too. This is going to be the issue here. How are we going to pleat this? Let's see. We can probably get rid of this and this. Yeah, and we can get rid of these. Okay. I'm going to pause for a minute and I'm going to think. Okay, what I did here, I went ahead and left this line in at the knee line. And then I'll just do it to this side and show you what I mean. I did 5 points over here. And then I just put lines in. I made this center line a green line so I know what it is. That it's the center line. That goes up to there. Don't forget to hold your control key down to get straight lines. And then we go and do intersections. And we're going to intersect at the bottom. Okay. Now we're going to be working with the slash and spread, which is the shortcut key of SS. Got to kind of figure out how I want to do this pleating. Let's look at this. They're knife pleats. They go to the front and the back. So, excuse me, we will start pleating on these two lines and leave this one blunted, which means we're going to do a lot of breaks. We're going to be breaking this at each of these points. And we're going to end up doing it at the curve at the top too. Now it might actually be easier if you just created a panel of knife pleats and then draped it in there and figured out the arcs and the curves after you pin it up into here. But we're going to try it this way and see how it works. I've been working on this for probably about a year and a half, trying to figure it out. Let's see if I can do it. Okay. Now the knife pleats are going to face forward on the front and backwards on the back. They're going to go towards the centers. So let's get in here and break these apart. forget I'm right clicking here to get it on that point. One more on this side, and then we do all these. Do you ever do something so repetitive that your mouse key, and you have to move it over just ever so slightly till you're finally off of your mouse pad? I don't know if you do, I do. All right. Now, let's think. How are we going to do this? I think this will fold under to this. So let's start over here. No, we have to start in the middle. We're going to do 2-inch. I would say that's probably about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So let's do 2 inches. We're going to SS for slash and spread. Here is our first slash line. Now what it's going to want you to do is to grab all of this. Make sure I have it all. There we go. Got that. Trying to get this where I can see it all. Okay. And we're going to go 2 inches to the right. That way, when you fold it under 1 inch, you still have the inch showing out, or the other inch. So now we're going to do it again, slash and spread to this one, and then we're going to grab all of that, apply 2 inches to the right, slash and spread this one, apply 2 inches to the right, again this one, two inches to the right, and this one, two inches to the right, and one more, this one. And we're only going to take this 2 inches to the right. Okay. We will have to work with the top. I'm not quite sure how that needs to be done yet. Squeaky chair. We're going to have to fiddle with that and see what happens. So the next one we need to do is the left-hand side. And we're going to do the same thing. Doing our slash and spreads. So we start from the one to the left of that center mark, and oops, get all that, plus that, and that one. And we need this one. Zoom selected. Apply. Oh, fiddle. Okay, try it again. slash and spread this one. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit. Zoom selected. Okay, slash and spread this one. I'm going to come up from this side, from the bottom, and grab them all. Apply 2 inches to the left. Do it again, and you just continue on like this. I'm going to move him over here so I can see what I'm doing. 2 inches to the left. Apply 2 inches to the left. I didn't break all that, did I? Yeah, I did. Okay. Get all that. 2 inches to the left. Apply 2 inches to the left. And then lastly this one. Apply and 2 inches to the left. Let's put him over here too. Now, how are we going to treat this? I think what I'm going to do is just put lines in. Because to true the pleat, I'm going to show you it doesn't work. True pleat, TP. Click on the line or arc that the pleat folds into, right here. And then you just do your see, that does not work. Okay. So I think I'm just going to do lines from the bottom edge of here. To here. Now the same thing with down here. I would advise cutting this a little longer than you want it, so you have ample room to make adjustments. If anyone has a better way of doing this, just let me know. Because that does look kind of odd. But that's basically all I think that needs to be done on this. Once you get this set into this curve, you can make your adjustments as to how, what kind of curved area you want this. So then what we want to do is put some text. Now you could use this as a fold line and cut 2 on the fold right here if you wanted to. That would be perfectly fine. And I always like mine at 0.15, which is the default for the program. So basically that's all it is. The hardest part, I thought at first the hardest part was getting these arcs right, but it wasn't. The hardest part is actually getting this done. Now, I would probably go ahead and get a panel and just go ahead and do my knife pleats on a straight rectangular panel and then set it on the constructed blouse or the constructed bodice and then cut and then drape it that way. If especially if this doesn't seem to work, make sure you make a muslin out of this first. But I just really adored these pleats and the way that this hung. The V sides is in style right now. You could do any kind of a different neckline that you wanted. Like I said, I opted to do a side zipper because I nipped in the waist and it would make it easier to go ahead and get on and off, even though it is a scoop neck. But since it's nipped in at the waist, you're going to want some kind of opening in the side here. But that's basically all it is on this one. Thanks for watching. You all have a great night. Please like, comment, or subscribe. If you've got a better way of doing these pleats, please let me know. This is I'm not the know all and be all of this program. There's other ways to do these things, I'm sure. And if there's an easier way, I certainly would like to know it. Anyway, you all have a great night. Thanks for watching. Bye.